Okay, so in this little video, I'm going to just run through the steps you'll need to take to set up the chart templates that I refer to in the book, which we have our technical trading rules set up using the free software provided by ProRealtime.com. So the first thing you want to do is obviously go to the website, www.ProRealtime.com. And then you just want to click on this little free access box right here. Fill in your details. Once you've done all that, you'll get a little email. You'll need to click a link to confirm you are who you say you are. And then you can come back to the home page, so back to ProRealtime.com again. Enter in your details and click OK. Click on non-professional, click continue. And bear in mind that the charts they provide you here are free, and it's using end of day data. So once you've logged in, just scroll down the page a little bit and you want to launch the complete workstation. So just click on the monitor there. Depending on which browser you're using, sometimes you may need to enable Java. I'm using Chrome at the moment and that was automatically detected it, and I have Java downloaded, so that's fine. Okay, so once you've logged in, you'll be presented with this screen. Now, what I like to do is simplify the way the charts look, and I like to standardize them as well. So I want all my different chart templates to have the same kind of background and the same general look and feel. So the first thing we can do is just click on the lines. So at the moment this is displaying channels and oblique support and resistance lines. Click those off and that will just neaten up the charts. That's the first step. The next thing you want to do is if you just close one of these charts it's got open for you. And we can close this list as well. We're not interested in the list at the moment. So let's just go ahead and make this chart larger. Okay, now what I like to do, I just like to have grids. So if you right click on any chart, it'll give you these options. So we've got chart settings. Click on chart settings. We can display the daily or yearly high or low. So I always like to know where those highs and lows are. So we'll tick that box. Horizontal and vertical grids, we'll also click them. And just in this vertical scale density, I like to have mine high. And I also like to have a little bit of space. So amount of future in percent of width. We can give ourselves about, I don't know, 8%. That's fine. Click apply to all charts and close. Now, if you remember from the book, we have a general rule, which is we're never allowed to buy stocks unless the SPY ETF, so that's the ETF of the S&P 500, ticker symbol SPY. So we always want the 65-day moving average to be above the 195-day moving average. So we'll go ahead and set up that chart first. So if you just get rid of this volume indicator, we'll go and excuse me, what you want to do is get the little search bar from ProRealtime. So on my browser, I just click on ProRealtime and the little bar is always at the bottom of your browser. So in the search bar, enter in SPY, click it. Okay, so we've got a chart of the SPY here. Make sure that you're on the daily time frame, which we are. And then to add indicators, you have this little indicator tab here. So just give that a click and then you'll have your options then to pick the indicators you want to use. Click on moving average, add to chart, and then we have these options. So you can change the width of the indicator, the style of the indicator, and this is where you can enter the number of periods you want to use. So if you remember, we'll have a fast indicator which is 65 days. So just in the little box, type in 65. I like to make mine blue. Doesn't really matter though what color you have them. And I don't like dashed lines, so I just click on the style drop down, put it to normal line, and there we have our 65-day moving average. So we'll close that. And then again, we'll go back to indicators, and now we want to add our 195-day moving average. So again, make sure you're on moving averages, click add to chart. Again, in the style, we'll change it to a straight line. In the number of periods, we'll enter 195. And because that's the longer moving average, we'll make that a little bit thicker. And we'll close. So there we are. We have our 65-day and 195-day moving average set upon the chart of the spider, which is SPY. So then what we want to do is save this chart template. So again, we want to bring up our Pro Real-Time search bar. So at the bottom of your web browser again, click on Pro Real-Time. Then on this little section here, we can click Templates. Click on Save. We'll call this the SPY moving average. Save. And now if you go back to templates, you'll notice that we have our own SPY moving average saved in the template. So whenever we load into Pro Real-Time, we can very quickly click on SPY moving average template and it will give us the chart, and then we can see very easily whether the market is currently in a bull mode or bear mode. Now one other thing about these charts, if you notice up here where you can change the time frame, we can also change the how far back in time it will go. Sometimes if you're using very long moving averages, you'll want more data, otherwise the moving averages won't be able to calculate. So I just always go 10,000 units, and then we have, you know, over nearly 15 years worth of data, and we can just scroll in. So that's our SPY chart. Okay, so now what we're going to do is create the actual chart templates which we're going to use for our daily breakout model and our daily counter trend model. Now we don't need to actually restart the charts, so we can leave open our SPY chart, because once we've added the indicators and modified the indicators that already exist on the chart, as long as we're saving the template as a different name, it won't overwrite the one we've just saved, it'll just give us two separate templates. So the first thing we'll want to do is change the moving average lengths, because if you remember, we want a 40-day and 120-day for our daily strategies. So just right click on the indicator, it's probably the quickest way to do it. Click on Settings Moving Average, and then we can just change the 65 to 40. Again, right click on the long moving average. In the number of periods, change the 195 to 120. Click on Close. Okay, so that's the first step of our daily strategies template is now ready. The next thing we will want to do is add the 40-day Donchian channel. So again, we go back up to the top of the screen, we have the little indicator tab, left click on it, and then in all these indicators we have here, just scroll down until you find Donchian channel on price, left click it, add it to chart. And then what I like to do is just on this little box here, we have the options to change how it looks. So where it says Donchian channel middle, we'll want to make that invisible. So that's the first step. I also like to get rid of the blue highlighted zone. So right at the bottom here where it says Donchian channel up, and then we've got less than, greater than, Donchian channel down, just click that and then untick these two boxes. And then just go to Donchian channel up, change that where it says number of periods, change it from 10 to 40, click on Close, and there we have our Donchian channels. So that's 40 period highs, and beneath price we obviously have 40 period lows. Now the next thing is to add volume. Again, indicators, at the top of the page we have volume, add it to our chart. Just close this box down. Obviously at the moment that's the volume is taking up a large portion of the screen, so if you notice, if you just go to the top of the volume pane, you can drag it down to make it smaller. So we'll do that. And then we're going to want to add our volume moving average, and we're going to want to shift it so it's 1.5 times the average 20 period volume. So the first thing we'll do is click on the little spanner in the volume pane, and then here we have add. So click on the drop down box, and what we're going to want to add is a moving average. So scroll down, click moving average. We have a 20 period moving average, which is by default. Again, in the style, if we just change that to a line, Obviously you don't have to, this is just my preference. I like it a little bit thicker, so in the width, click on the drop down box, click on the thicker line. And then what you'll see is we have this horizontal shift and vertical shift. So what we want to do is shift it by 50%. And that's then going to tell us 1.5 times the 20 period volume average. So just put 50 in there. And there we go. So we now have a moving average on our volume, which is actually showing us 1.5 times the moving average. So the next thing we'll want to do is add our stochastics to the chart. So again, back to the indicators, scroll down to stochastic, add it to our chart. The first thing I like to do is make the %K invisible. So click on the %K, in the style, click invisible. The next thing I want to do, just like with the Donchian channels, I want to get rid of the highlight. So click on this little box here, untick the boxes. On the %D then, make the line straight. And then what we want to do is change our settings. So we have number of periods 20. We have our %K number of periods is 3, and %D number of periods is 1. Okay, so we have our stochastic set up. Now, if you remember, we use 90 and 10 as our overbought and oversold numbers. By default, they're 80. So just right-click on the line, and then say Settings Horizontal Line. If you see the little box comes up, we have value of 90. We have value of 80. Just change that to 90. Do the same for the bottom line. So click, at the moment the line's on 20. Just right-click it. Settings Horizontal Line, click on that, click value from 20 to 10, close that off. Again, you might want to just resize these indicators somewhat, so just scale them down. Okay, the final thing we'll want to do is add our average true range multiples. So go to your indicators, highlight average true range, add it to your chart. First thing you'll want to do is clean them up, so click on average true range. We don't want to see the highlights, we just want a line. And then where it says add, you just want to add an envelope. In number of periods, you want it to be 1. Vertical shift, our first one is going to be vertically shifted by 125%, and that's going to tell us 2.25 times ATR. So do 125%. Make the envelope minus invisible, so just click it, go to style, go invisible, go to the less than or greater than, click on that, and then tick this little box, because again we don't want to see it highlighted. And as you can see on the chart now, we have our average true range, and then we have 2.25 times our average true range. Now you can change the colors by simply clicking on the envelope, and up here it's color. You can just click the color. Let's just make that one blue. And there we are. And you can do that now. Follow those exact same steps. But all you want to do is change the vertical shift. We want one more, which is 250%. And that's going to tell us 3.5 times ATR. And a final one of 400%, which is going to be 5 times ATR. And once you've done that, your charts are totally ready. So you'll just want to go back to the bottom of your web browser, and you'll have a Pro Real-Time tab. Click it, it will bring up our options box. Go to Templates, click on Save, and this time we're just going to save this as our daily models. Click Save. Now, every time you log into Pro Real-Time, you can just go up to your options, click Templates, and there you have them. So we have our SPY moving average or our daily models. So just to give you an example, if I click SPY moving average, it'll automatically bring up my SPY chart. Again, we can bring up our options box, click Templates, go to daily models, and now we have the exact chart template for our daily strategies. I hope that video has been some help to you. The next video we're just going to look at how to quickly determine the strength of the broader market over the past quarter and the individual industries, and we're going to do that using finviz.com.